had it hard when I was a kid, really, really hard. And so I get a lot of what these kids are going through, and I do what I can to reach out to them.
Most of my life, I've never even known my mom, my real mom, or my real dad.
How can you do foster care and do it genuinely without being a masochist?
Hi, this is Jeanette Schnell with RealityDenied.com. I'm here with Jim Beall Jr. and Denise Marchu.
Hey, I'm Jim Beall. I'm a state assemblyman from San Jose in the 24th Assembly District.
I'm Denise Marchu. I'm a former foster parent and adoptive parent, and I'm also the executive director for the Foster Parent Resource Center.
Really nice to see you again. I saw you on the 3rd of May in Sacramento for the legislative kickoff.
And we had Jimmy Wayne with us. And Jimmy Wayne lobbied for the foster care programs.
I had never heard of Jimmy Wayne until that day. Have you heard of Jimmy Wayne, Denise?
I think he's a country western singer.
Yeah, he's a country western singer. Jimmy Wayne is walking from Nashville to Phoenix to promote programs for foster kids. And that's 1,700-mile walk, and he's now, I think, in New Mexico right now.
So tell me, how did you find Jimmy Wayne?
Well, he found me, and we kind of connected through Twitter. And so what he does is he walks from Nashville to Phoenix, is he puts out these tweets, and he found out from some friends of his about our bill in Sacramento, AB 12, which extends the foster care programs from 18 to 21 years, and also supports the federal funds for KinGap, which is to try to get relatives to take care of our foster kids.
Now I noticed that you're on Facebook, and Jimmy Wayne is on Facebook. Denise, you're on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook. How does that work for you guys, being on Facebook with your constituents and Jimmy Wayne and different people like that? Are you enjoying it?
Well, it provides like short, quick statements about what's going on, and if people want to get more information, they just simply go to my website. But it gives them kind of updates as we go along in terms of legislation, what's happening, events, those kinds of things. So people connect and become friends on Facebook with me, and I think I have a few thousand friends already. So, you know, they want to know immediately what's going on in real time, so that's kind of what we do with the Twitter, and provide people with updates about what's happening in Sacramento, other events, you know, especially legislation. People want to know what's happening, who voted for what, when it voted, when it happened, and they want immediate information about what's going on. Yeah, and they try to get publicity about foster youth and homeless youth, so that's the main approach. So it's kind of exposing the United States to the issue of foster youth and the needs of foster youth in our country, and I think it's wonderful. And we're starting to get more and more people interested in support for our foster youth programs, and so it's just great. It really helps our legislation in Sacramento and just the programs overall, I think.
Legislation and foster care, it goes hand in hand, and every May we hear so much about it. You're behind the scenes, working all year long on the different bills and things like that. The two that seem to be really predominant right now are AB 12 and AB 167. I find as a foster parent, it's hard to find out what's going on with legislation unless you go research it yourself. That's why it's so great that you're so active and you come to all these different things and share what you know with people. How can you break it down for the basic foster parent and tell them what AB 12 is? Let's start with that one.
Well, AB 12 is a bill we introduced, and the real intent and purpose of that is to extend the programs that are provided for foster families and the foster youth programs from the time they're 18 to the time they're 21. And we're going to phase that in over a 3-year period.
So in addition to Facebook and Twitter, there's Foster Care Central. Are either one of you members of Foster Care Central? Do you know what that is?
No.
Foster Care Central. Yeah, I know. This is a test. All these
Probably have. I don't know. I'm in a lot of groups.
Exactly.
I have a million groups I'm in.
Foster Care Central is the only and #1 foster care networking social site in America.
Okay.
And it was started by a man named Stewart. He's an employee of EMQ in Sacramento. And so he put together this site, and it's a combination of advocates, foster parents, foster kids who are 18, legislators, judges. It's just a whole bunch of people. And they go on there and they have lots of blogs and videos and different things like that. Well, the one thing that I keep seeing on a lot of the blogs that they have there is, you know, the regulations are different from state to state for foster care. Do you have any views on trying to, you know, create or start some type of movement to get, you know, nationwide regulations for foster care so that we're all doing the same thing at the same time and held to the same level of standard?
Well, I think every state has different levels of funding. Of course, that's one of the things that we have in a national level. We have 50 states, 50 different programs. Some programs are really good, some aren't real good. There's varying levels of support politically in each state, you know, for foster programs. And I think we need a national program. We need a national source of funding, more funding from the national level, going to the states, and then the national funding, you know, we have to have like sort of a carrot and stick approach, where they give us the money, but then they say, okay, here's the standards, the outcomes we want to see. And they should be outcomes on what the kids have at the end of their foster care experience. Here's where we're connecting them to be successful at the end result. That should be the goal. And I think looking at kids and finding out what kind of successes they've had should be the focus of our national standards. And then we should have quality care standards. We should have levels of care that are quality and reimbursed for that quality. We shouldn't try to stuff as many kids as we can into a foster family. That's a mistake we've learned from the past. It doesn't really be a successful approach. We shouldn't just rely on dumping kids in group homes if they can't be successful. We should develop individual programs for each kid and try to be more individualized, because these kids have all kinds of issues and each kid's an individual. We should treat them as an individual, develop an individual program for each kid. So I think those are the kinds of things we need to have on really a national level. We need an approach that focuses on them, not on the bureaucracy. And if we do that, I think we'll be more successful.
Denise, does the association or yourself personally have a view on national standards for foster care? Everyone keeps talking about it's broken, it's broken, it's broken, it's broken. And everybody, and you're working so hard. I mean, you're a rock star on your Facebook page. People just appreciate and love everything that you're doing out there. But, you know, do you have a view on this?
It would be a huge movement to go across the states and change things in standard. But I think there should be a level of standardization nationally for foster care and foster youth. But what I see is that the needs for foster care in Missouri are probably different than the foster care needs here in California. And so on that level, I think things are going to be different, but I think the standard should be all the same across the United States.
That'd be nice. So would you like to do that for us, Jim? Would you like to get that movement going?
Well, I work with a lot of people to get that done. That can be done, though.
I'm sure it can.
I think it's a common sense thing. I mean, people should. It's not a political, partisan, ideological thing. It's a common thing, and I think one of the things about the programs for foster kids on a state level that I found out is they tend to be bipartisan. There isn't a lot of this political back and forth. AB 12, when it went to the Assembly, I was totally surprised that the bill passed 72-0 in the state Assembly. Not a single person voted against the bill.
Wow, that's
and so
remarkable.
we got Republicans and Democrats all voting for the bill. And I have, I think, about 12 Republican co-authors. Many of the co-authors stood up and gave speeches and for the bill when it came up on the floor. And in the Senate, we have the most liberal member of the Senate and the most conservative member of the Senate as co-authors of the bill. So that's amazing.
Unheard of.
Yeah, we have Senator George Runner, author of Three Strikes You're Out. The most conservative member is a co-author, and I think Mark Leno, the most liberal member, probably is a co-author. So we have both sides of the spectrum supporting this.
That's great. In the news a couple of weeks ago, I was doing a random search, and it talks about a new campaign in California that's going to be setting limits on foster care capacity. But the article didn't say who was going to be driving the movement or where the origin of that movement was. I was wondering, is it coming out of Title 22? Because it makes sense. It's like you were saying, putting a lot of kids in a foster home, it doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't work for the kids, it doesn't work for the family. Have either one of you heard about this at all?
I've heard a little bit about it. I think it relates to the whole thing of, what is the limit of a foster family to adequately care and give individual care for a child, and establishing some kind of standard. I think if you have, I think as you probably realize, there's some kids, probably one or two at the most, would be a handful, and another case you might, 3 or 4 might be okay.
Right.
I come from a family of 10 kids, and my mom handled us pretty good. She had the place pretty well organized. Mom and Dad ran the house pretty good, and we were pretty organized. If we got out of line, we were immediately dealt with in terms of types of things we had to do. So our family was run pretty well. But I think there's some kids that really need just maybe 1 or 2 people in the foster family. That's I think everybody has a different opinion about that.
Do you think that maybe this is part of Title 22? Because wouldn't it have to be a capacity? Wouldn't it have to be a change like that in order for them to implement something like that? Denise, you might know.
I don't know offhand, but I don't think it would affect that. My biggest thing is that it would be ideal if every foster child had their own home, but we don't have the families out there to care for them. I mean, we would love to limit the amount of children in a home, but first we need families to step up to the plate and become foster families.
You were saying Jimmy Wayne is walking the walk. Well, you walk the walk every single day, both of you. I want to thank you so much for letting us come out and interview you. Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Denise, thank you very much.
Sure. Welcome. Thank you.
Y'all ain't ready for this on the street. Play with it, might get it, and you don't wanna mess with me. Play with it, cause you just might get it, you don't wanna mess with me. You don't hear me though? Play with it.
Hey babe, have you seen the orchids in the greenhouse? They're beautiful.